seated. I got an email from a devotee that he's, it's amazing. He says, I'm listening to your seminar clips at 35,000 feet. Okay. I won't go into the what he might also be doing at 35,000 feet, since I assume it's his own plane, but that's a whole other story for part of the rich and famous genre. But he tells me about he was listening about. He's telling me, I'm telling all you guys to man up, basically, and he sends a copy of a letter his mother wrote him just before she died. 43 years ago. And we're not going to read that. But she was telling him to man up. A lot of shit's going to happen in life. And I'm going to be deed. Man up. Now, maybe if your mothers had told you to man up when you were 18, you might be given this seminar instead of sitting in it. Okay, but he also goes on to say, as part of our ongoing search for people that I've helped create wealth for, I calculated, he's an engineer, by the way, I'm ashamed to say, I calculated as we created $2 billion. I get these out of the, literally out of the cyber shit. And that's why it's a ongoing sum. And I've already told you the number's bigger than 50 billion, but 2/3 of my devotees, mentees, are flying around in their private jets, and I think not paying taxes. And so they just as soon not be on the Hall of Fame, and they want to, on the down low, I think they call it. And and he also goes on to talk about how he knows that I've never given up on a mentee that hasn't given up on themselves first, because he was someone that I could have given up on, then went on 2 billion. That's the point. So, now, yesterday's or the day before's homework, what homework haven't we gone over? There's still a couple. Not from the first day. I think there's one left from the second day.
The second day was...
And did I say this? I finished listening to the Asprey interview.
We're good.
We're good?
Yep.
We're all caught up? Okay. And the takeaway for me, which I've already shared with you guys, just as when Brian got me going on my showbiz career, the guys that I've been interviewed by so far, and the guys that I'm scheduled to be interviewed by, and several of them next week when I get home to my studio in Asia, is that people want to know, and they still have difficulty relating to, that everybody won't succeed. Because that's more or less the antithesis. What everybody says, you buy this CD, you do this, and you'll succeed. And what they don't say in the CD or whatever, you can succeed following these steps if you follow them diligently, and if you never stop following them. They don't, nowhere in any of these courses have I seen that. They just give you the steps, and the presumption is that you're either smart enough to know that if you don't follow them diligently, you're not going to succeed. The real presumption, in my judgment, is that they just want you to buy the steps, and they don't really give a fuck if you succeed or not. Now that sounds harsh. That sounds like I'm a skeptic or a combination of things like that. But it's just my experience of being in this, if you can call it an industry, for the last 21 years. Whereas, if somebody took me under the wing in the coal business, or somebody took me under the wing in whatever business, the presumption is that I wanted them to take me under their wing, their umbrella, because I wanted them to make sure I succeeded. But of course, the difference is they're not selling me anything. And when you're selling me something, then your agenda is different, and that's why I say that my purpose, or my personal agenda, is different, because I want you to succeed, and again, for selfish reasons, because I want to be known as the greatest high-performance coach that ever walked the planet. And the manifestation of that is I can only do that if Rob and Dom and Miles and everybody are super successful, and then they breed super successful people, and then they breed super successful people, and success begets success. So, are there any questions? I know I passed around that Top Plus book. You should look at it. It's interesting. For the engineers, don't spend too much time looking at the charts and the graphs. And I'm sure there's countless spreadsheets to go behind those things. Tonight you go out to dinner and you bond for the second time. And I told you last night, and then as soon as I said it, everybody shut up. But I said, look at how everybody's chit-chatting. How there's just a much more high level of conversation between all you people, because you had been out on your own the night before. And then last night when we were sitting in the main dining room, you were chit-chatting back and forth, and it was just like you've known each other for years. And now after tonight, when you go out for a second time, tomorrow night, you'll even be chit-chatting more until I bring it to your attention. And when I bring it to your attention, all of a sudden there's a calm. Okay? And I still find it, I'm pleased, but I still find it humorous when Marcus is down at the end of the table holding court, telling you, telling you what the Lord knows from obviously an Austrian point of view, but what the Lord knows and about this and that. And sitting there listening to him, reminds me of the E.F. Hutton commercial. When Marcus speaks, people listen, which is fine. He's got right to be proud of what he's done. But you're still not, you haven't even come to the first hurdle yet. I mean, the big hurdle. He's had a lot of hurdles because he's in an industry that basically sucks. He's in one of those kind of industries I tell you not to be in. Those 1 or 2% margin businesses. Whatever you do, you stay away from those. And he's, but that's all right. But that's what this process is. And again, I thank Robert and Robert here and Marcus there for coming back and sharing their stories with you. And because I couldn't make up, if I tried to, 4 years ago, some of the problems they've had. I foresaw some of the problems, but they found them anyway. Some of the things that I've told you about should be easy to avoid. You still do. You still do. And again, it's because of all the decades, in some of your cases, of the previous information that you were inundated with as a child growing up by your family or extended family. Again, them not trying to do you harm, but unless you were blessed, unless you want to be an Olympian and you had 2 Olympian parents, the chances are that most of the information they gave you about winning a gold medal at the next, or any Olympics, is probably bullshit. Or they read it on the internet, God forbid. Are there any questions on anything that we've covered so far? Okay, now, I was really good at, we're at the second step of your 7 steps to super success, and it's clarifying your own vision. I was pretty good at that. Some say I was very good at that. My office at 1111 Bagby. If you walk in and you get up on the 17th floor, and some engineer talked me into, I had 2 floors, 17 and 18 floor, 45,000 square feet. Some engineer did a time and motion study, which in my judgment are a waste of fucking money. But anyway, they convinced me that we needed a staircase between the 17th and 18th floor. Elevators weren't quick enough. So we built a staircase. They also convinced me we needed our own gym. Because guys like Brian that are fit, too much time for them to go down to 24-hour fitness. Of course, I thought 24-hour fitness, they should be going after work, not during work, but no. So we also built a gym. But when you get out of the elevator and you step off onto the Italian marble floor, this is how I saw the offices before we ever had any offices. And you look down the hallway to the big gold GW and the mahogany wood on the side paneling. And you had 2 gorgeous receptionists, blondes. Sounds sexist, I don't mean it that way. And then you go down the hall and you have the CFO's office. Then you turn, you go down another 50 meters and you have the this office. Then you go down the hall to the end, because we have the whole floor, down the end, and you had my office, which was 1,500 square feet. I had a 700 square foot bathroom. I had my own bath. I saw this because I didn't go home. I slept at the office. And then if you walk into 1111 Bagby, that's exactly what it looked like. That was my vision. Just as I had a slightly different vision about the castle and what it would look like, because I thought we'd be in an island with a moat and stuff like that. And as my ex-wife would tell you, we are on an island here. It's just not the kind of island you thought. I thought we'd be on the west coast on one of those islands. But when you looked at those kind of castles, I mean, I wanted a castle you had to row out to, you know? And they exist, but the problems that come along with them are monumental. I had enough problems with this place. And so, but vision, if you can't see where you're going with a clarity like this, the chances of you achieving it are pretty slim. When we talk about goal setting later this afternoon, the Olympians see themselves standing on the podium getting the gold medal. You know, Alway saw himself throwing a 22-yard pass into the end zone with no time left on the clock to win the Super Bowl. He tried 2 or 3 times before he won the Super Bowl. Do you have that kind of clarity, that vision? You know, the sense of what an American man has changed from to, in my opinion, not so great. We started out, you know, in late 1700s with George Washington, the father of the country of the United States, to what we got now. And I'm not going to comment about our current president, but if you don't have the vision, the one thing that I've said already, I have a lot of respect for Mr. President Obama. He had the vision to see himself as the first black president. That's a big fucking goal. Bodacious, as I said, I think he says in his book. Your goals have to be of the same magnitude. I had a $2 billion goal. I fell 1.5 billion short, approximately. Nobody feels sorry for me. Okay? And you on YouTube have to have the same kind of bodacious goals. And we'll see you later. Thanks.